Yo, what is up guys? Ethan here back in the video, and today we return with college football videos as we will be recapping week 9. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. And nothing majorly crazy happened this overall weekend, but there's tons and tons of stunning results, so that's why it's on the thumbnail. But the main game has to be number 2 Ohio State going up to Happy Valley and defeating the number 13 Penn State Nittany Lions 44-31. And for the majority of this game, Penn State actually had control of this game, but JT came alive for the Buckeyes defense. 6 tackles, 2 interceptions, a pick 6, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and a forced fumble. That is one of the craziest stat lines I have seen in a long time from a defensive end. And if he does not win Defensive Player of the Week for the overall NCAA, there is a big time issue, because he was the sole reason why this Ohio State defense was keep on getting stops. And then offensively, Marvin Harrison had a big game. He had over 180 receiving yards. But CJ Stroud, even though statistically he was good, that time management was killing him for some plays in this game. And CJ Stroud has to get that fixed, because if you're going to be facing this Michigan defense who's looked really good this year, you can't be making mistakes with time management like that. But Sean Clifford threw 2 interceptions to start the game. Typical Sean Clifford. And then he turned it up. Looked phenomenal throughout the second and third quarter. And then the fourth quarter, he threw the pick 6. And then that's how Ohio State was getting that run. But Katron Allen had a good game. Parker Washington almost had 180 receiving yards as well. So Penn State, this wasn't a bad game. We did maintain control for the majority of this game. But Ohio State gets the win, and they are definitely a top 3 team as of right now. The next game I want to talk about is this Oklahoma State game. Kansas State wins at home 48-0. The fact that Adrian Martinez did not play this game makes this shutout even worse. Spencer Sanders did not look good at all. But the main thing was this Kansas State offense. Will Howard comes in, throws for 4 touchdowns, phenomenal game. Deuce Vaughn on the ground, phenomenal. That's why he's on the thumbnail. And overall, this Kansas State offense was just red hot. This overall team was red hot. And Mike Gundy, you have to do something. You just came off a comeback win versus Texas. And I understand Spencer Sanders has been banged up, but he's been playing good. So this win, or my bad, they didn't even win this game. This loss is inexcusable for this Cowboys team. And they're going to have to pick it up next week. Talking about just picking it up next week, Wake Forest, they looked awful today. Louisville wins an upset win versus number 10 Wake Forest, 48-21. Louisville scored 35 points in the third quarter, and in total, Wake Forest had 8 turnovers. That is inexcusable in every way. And Wake Forest, you're going to have a mid-off versus some of the most overrated ACC teams this next week at NC State. And I had a feeling Louisville was going to win this game. I didn't put in my predictions because I didn't find a spread or an over-under that I liked for this game. But still, I had a feeling Louisville was going to win this game by 3. I said it was going to be a close game either way, but it was in the first half, and then Louisville just pulled away. This Wake Forest team has to get answers defensively, because I understand the defense for Louisville looked really good today, but they're nothing spectacular. Maybe I'm just underestimating this Cardinals defense, or maybe this Wake Forest offense is just overrated with this air raid under Sam Hartman. And I've gained tons of respect over Sam Hartman through the year, and now I'm just like, is he overrated like I thought he was at the beginning of the year? I'm just so confused with this Wake Forest team. This is a phenomenal win for Louisville, as they truly needed this win to get their pacing back together after they lost at UCF and then versus Boston College earlier this year. Big time win for this Cardinals team, as Scott Satterfield might have saved his job with this game. Next game, Tennessee just destroys number 19 Kentucky 44-6. And I thought this was going to be a really close game. I thought Tennessee was going to win this game. I said it in my predictions. But when teams doubt Bob Stoops, he usually shows up. And he really didn't today. But the main reason why Kentucky lost this game was Will Levis. And Will Levis looked awful today. Did not even have over 100 yards passing. and 3 interceptions. This Tennessee defense was phenomenal. A great look as we go into that major game next week versus Georgia in Athens. So Tennessee looked phenomenal. The run game was really good. Jalen Hyatt was spectacular as he's been all year long. But this Kentucky team, this was an awful performance after getting a bounce back win versus Mississippi State, and then they had a bye last week, of course. I forgot about that. But Kentucky has a trap game, in my opinion, next week at Missouri, and that's going to be a really good game, as we're going to talk about Missouri next, actually. But great win for this Vols team, but Kentucky needs to bounce back. But they're going to go to Mizzou next week, and Mizzou actually went on the road and upset number 25 South Carolina 23-10. And this is exactly what I thought would happen. Spencer Rattler would have a bad performance. The South Carolina team is not a top 25 team. I've said that many times. They do not deserve to be ranked just because of how inconsistent they have been. Missouri had the better defense. Like I said, Dominic Lovett was phenomenal in the air today. So I'm not really surprised about this at all, as I actually did predict this upset. But Missouri looks really good right now. They the Georgia game, of course, we all know they beat Vandy last week. They beat South Carolina this week. You almost beat Florida a few weeks ago. They could legit beat this Kentucky team next week, and that game is going to be super underrated in my opinion. So great win for this Tigers team, this Gamecocks team. As expected, in my opinion, they are overrated. UCF defeats number 20 Cincinnati 25-21. And I will admit, I really didn't watch this game much, but I watched that final 8 minutes, I would say. And a great game from Cincinnati, but UCF just pulled out on top. I'm not sure if UCF deserves to be ranked because East Carolina just destroyed them this last week. And then East Carolina actually went up to Provo, Utah, and defeated BYU this past Friday. So I'm not sure if UCF deserves to be ranked. If anything, East Carolina may be East Carolina may be deserving to be ranked. But what this game tells me, Tulane is the best American team right now. But Cincinnati, they're still going to be up there in this race. Great win for UCF. Next game, number 15 Ole Miss defeats Texas A&M 31-28. And the reason why Ole Miss won this game? Quinshon Judkins. And everyone during the offseason said Zach Evans is going to be the focal point of this Rebels offense. And it's been the complete opposite. As true freshman Quinshon Judkins has been proving a point. He had over 200 rushing yards today. He had a rushing touchdown as well. Phenomenal game. Devin Achane for Texas A&M was great as well. I want to give him his roses or whatever. But Quinshon Judkins is that guy. And I may be biased a little bit, but he legit might be, for this season, just this season alone, a top 5 running back. I need to look into it more. But Quinshon Judkins, phenomenal game, as this is why Ole Miss won this game. And this is a great bounce back win as they have Alabama in a few weeks. Notre Dame is in one of the most confusing teams in all college football as they go up to Syracuse and defeat the ranked Orange 41-24. Syracuse did not look good at all today. Notre Dame did. That's all I really have to say. And it's just really confusing because, like, Notre Dame shows up a few weeks and then some other weeks, like, especially at the beginning of the season, they look awful. I'm really going to be curious to see how Notre Dame goes throughout the stretch with this schedule. But Notre Dame, a great win. Now I'm going to go on a little bit of a speed run here. Number 1, Georgia defeats Florida 42-20 in the cocktail party. Georgia blew a 28-3 lead as it was 28-20. And then Georgia just went on a run after that. Great win for Georgia. And they have the big time game next week, home versus Tennessee. Number 7, TCU defeats West Virginia 41-31. And Neil Brown could potentially be fired this upcoming Monday. This West Virginia team showed tons of grit, but this TCU team right now, way better than this West Virginia team. TCU looks vulnerable, though. I will say that they could potentially lose in this upcoming schedule, as anything is truly possible in the Big 12 this year. But West Virginia, if I were you, fire Neil Brown right now. Number 10, USC defeats Arizona 45-37. And I know Jordan Addison was out for this game, but was he that impactful that this game was semi-close towards the end? I really don't get it. This is not the best look for USC. A win is a win, and this Arizona's team offensively does match up really well against his defense. But still, for USC, this is a kind of a concerning look, as you may have to rely on Jordan Addison a little bit more once he comes back from his injury to fully blow out teams, I would say. Baylor just blows out Texas A&M 45-17. Richard Reese, phenomenal game for another standout true freshman. And this Baylor offense looks way better compared to how they started off the year. I'm not going to say they're going to be ranked yet, but they're definitely going to be capable of getting a few upsets in Big 12 play. Number 4, Michigan defeats Michigan State 29-7. Michigan's had full control over MSU this entire game. And then, of course, we had the fight at the end. Someone's getting fined or suspended from both sides, in my opinion. But great win for Michigan, as from right now until that Illinois game, they have an easy way to just get to Illinois and then the big game versus Ohio State. Number 21, North Carolina defeats Pitt 42-24. And I thought this game was going to be a little bit closer. It really wasn't. Drake May is one of the best quarterbacks in all college football. So shout out to Drake May. But Pittsburgh, they need to figure out something immediately offensively, because Abani Conda cannot be carrying this offense. And this defense is semi-struggling again and again, week in, week out. Pittsburgh needs to fix something immediately if they want to have any true contention in some games, because they have not looked great for the past few weeks. UConn defeats Boston College, and this is just astonishing in my opinion. I had Boston College really high this year. I thought Phil Jerkovich and Zay Flowers is going to be a great combo, but fire Jeff Hafley immediately. This Boston College team is too good to look this bad. You only scored 3 points versus dang UConn. I understand UConn's having a bounce back year under Jim Mora. This Huskies team has looked pretty good in some games this year. But this is inexcusable for Boston College. And just like what I talked about with Neil Brown, fire him. You need to fire Jeff Hafley right now if you were Boston College, in my opinion. Number 17, Illinois defeats Nebraska 26-9. Illinois has had full control of this game. This defense is one of the best, if not the best, in all college football as of right now. Illinois deserves your respect. Easily a top 15 team, in my opinion. Arkansas defeats Auburn 41-27. Raheem Sanders is that guy. KJ Jefferson is that guy. And Brian Harsin, another coach that I'm talking about that deserves to get fired. So that's 3 coaches that I could see getting fired this week. Brian Harsin, Jeff Hafley, and Neil Brown. But great win for Arkansas on the road. Oregon defeats Cal 42-24. Fresno State comes back with a minute 09 remaining. They were down 28-17. They defeat San Diego State 32-28 at home. Great win for Jake Haener as he does return. And Miami defeats Virginia in one of the most ugly games all year, 14-12 in 4 overtimes. And that is it for Week 9. Week 10 is going to be a thrilling game. The main game, as we all know, Tennessee at Georgia. So yeah, that is it. Hopefully you enjoyed. Like, share, subscribe, push notifications on so you don't miss any of my videos, as there will be 2 videos releasing this week. My predictions for Week 10 and then my top 25 for the mid-season point. And like always, have a good day. Peace out.